Remember then Provezza had a really tough opening to the season with a technical failure and some health problems in Bayona, but went on to finish on the podium in Portals. With a third place, won a couple of races there. That's the last time they won races, was races 7 and 8 in Portals, but they do have platoon breathing down their necks. So you're wondering about that move out to the right to looking downwind for Phoenix. Doesn't seem to have paid off for them just now. And the runway running out for Phoenix. Who won by 11 points in Puerto Portals, ahead of Sled. So as it stands just now, Sled looks set to increase their lead to 5 points. So Provezza will make their jibe very shortly. In my very basic arithmetic says Sled would lead by 6 points ahead of Quantum. Allegra would be 3 points behind Quantum. And then Platoon would be 4th, but just a point behind Allegra. You have to reflect, what a race course, what a race area this is proving to be. Platoon then 3rd at the top mark, first time up. They've led the race. You'd have to say that there's not much they could do about Provezza's move up the right side on the second beat. But also credit to Allegra in this race, 2nd at the top mark, and have managed to stay in step pretty much with these big changes. And I'm sure that Andy Soriano and the afterguard, Francesco Angeli, Nick Asher and Will Ryan, will be quite happy with the 3rd, considering the changes that have gone through this fleet over the course of this race. So a little bit of a gain to Phoenix coming in then at the last minute into this finish line. Incredible. Incredible how we were just talking a moment ago how this could be a key race for Phoenix versus Quantum, and Phoenix come in with speed and get round the bows of Quantum, and so through the finish line it's Pravetsa winning, Platoon gets second, Allegra third, Sled fourth, Phoenix fifth, just pipping Quantum on the line. Interlodge get up to seventh considering they were distant ninth. Top Mark first time up, then Vayu in eighth, and Gladiator finishing in ninth place. So apologies for one or two connection problems we've had over the course of that race, but many congratulations to Ergen Imre and his team for reading that breeze best on that second beat and winning. Platoon then going 2-1-2 and moving up the table all the time, just 1 point behind Allegra, and certainly challenging for the podium. Join us again. The next start should be 14:25. We're hearing from the race committee boat. Join us around about then and we'll go into the second race of the day. So less than 1 minute to the start of race number 8, and as we said, 6-point lead now for Sled going into the second race of the day. Only 2 races left tomorrow. Not looking too much to me like there's going to be a start in the next 20 seconds. I think we're going into the warning signal. Yeah, looking very much like we're coming in for the warning signal. While we're waiting, maybe we could play a little interview. We have an interview with, let me see, Simon Fry, then the trimmer on Gladiator, talking about 10 years of the 52 Super Series. Of course, the 52 Super Series started in Barcelona at the Conde del Godo Trophy in May 2012. Simon Fry has been with different teams over the course of the 10 years, and this is Simon Fry, stir fry from the Gladiator.
So tell me about the boats first of all. What have been the changes over the years?
Well, I think the hulls, that's proper TP noise, that is. The boats have changed through design innovations from Vrolic and from Marcelino. And they've done small changes, and each iteration gets better and better. The deck layouts have changed. We've got spinnaker reelers. They were probably first around in Barcelona when you last spoke to me. The rigs have changed. Driven runners, improved drivetrains. I mean, they're, if you look at the boats, they look like a TP52 in 2010, 11, 12, but they're very, very different.
How have you changed for actually sailing them then in terms of performance?
Well, I think people have worked out in the breeze, you've got to be much more active with your weight fore and aft, the pitch of the boats. We're much more onto that. Target heel angle up and down wind. Someone's on their chainsaw. It's an outboard. I think because the class is refined, the sailing techniques have been refined, so everything you have to be way, way, way more accurate.
The boats are closer than ever before.
Yep, it appears that way. I mean, any boat can win a race, any boat can drop the ball. Starting is obviously a massive feature, and the navigators and the tacticians and drivers work really, really hard on their time and distance with the computer programs. It's a pretty refined product.
What about the sailors themselves? They're a pretty refined product too now.
No comment.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody works hard, don't they?
Well, I think you have to. I mean, you're judged by your results. You're judged by what you put in, what you get out. You look in from the outside, and hopefully we're a good advert for the class.
Your favourite memory of the 10 years? Any one particular day, one particular event, one particular venue that really stands out for you?
I mean, several downwind sleigh rides. Unfortunately, now we don't do coastal races. They're only probably 2.5 miles long. But I'd probably take one favourite memory on Azura. I think it was 2012 in Cascais, distance race. Rounded the top mark, and Cicho said, Simon, the port primary is not working. So we sailed the whole run downwind with only one primary jibing, and then the beat back from Lisbon back to Cascais with one primary. Finished second to Team New Zealand. That was up there.
So Simon Fry there giving you his insights over the first 10 years of the 52 Super Series. But we're right bang up to date then now with the start of race number 8 of the Royal Cup here in Scarlino. Breeze is 13 or 14 knots. When last we heard, breeze is round to 195 degrees. And the distance for the windward leg is 1.9 miles. Looking like the regatta leader's sled favouring the right end of the start line. There's plenty of time left. Platoon tacking up to try and hold the windward leg or windward end of the line. Allegri coming in a little bit late, or later. Down at the pin end we've got Quantum, Provezza, Phoenix. Gladiator appearing to have some kind of problem, I think. And off the start gun. Actually, it's a pretty even start. Platoon best. One boat coming back is bow number 27. Well, that's Value over the line, having to come back and recross. That's costing them time. Actually, it's from what we see, Interlodge has retired from the race. So also looking that Gladiator didn't start, not sure what the problem is with Gladiator, but the best start in the meantime is between Quantum and Platoon and Allegri. So Allegri and Platoon first and second off the start line. This right side looking best initially. Quantum over on the left. It seems like there was a collision just before the start between Interlodge and Gladiator. Interlodge hitting Gladiator, so both having to sit this race out. So looking like just message from the race committee saying that one of the boats will sustain penalty points because there was a collision. So just so we're just looking at this quick replay. Gladiator and Interlodge, Interlodge on port there and hitting Gladiator. Gladiator were coming bow down on starboard. So by the looks of things, Interlodge at fault on port. That's just less than a minute before the start, but nonetheless then looking like Interlodge at fault there. So we're back live. Allegri, Platoon, Value on this right side going best. So unfortunately losing two boats from that. So still quite cloudy on the race course. The breeze is stabilised a little bit, and Our coaching intel says the left should be strong up this first beat. Interesting. Gladiator asking for redress. So all pretty even then with the boats on that right side. Privetza Quantum out on the left, making an investment which you hope will come right for them, because they're quite a long way behind Allegri. Just reiterating, this is proving such a difficult race course to read. I don't think we can remember seeing so many place changes and breeze changes on a race course consistently day after day, or inconsistently depending how you look at these things, but certainly keeping the after guards on their toes, and almost immediately we see the left side strengthening. So it becomes altogether more difficult with two boats less for Quantum Racing to put boats between them and Sled, which they need to do in terms of the regatta. So Allegra just tacking. We see Sled with a lead just now. It seems like things change so rapidly on this course. So things settling slightly, but it's very busy on the right side of the course. Breeze shifting all the time. Very close, but Sled leading for the moment. And Quantum Racing, nothing in it. High left, paying out just now for Quantum. Phoenix in second, Sled third, Provezza in fourth. Platoon between fifth and sixth. All the time. Quantum and Phoenix then top two in this race at the moment. In the circuit standings, Phoenix are leading Quantum Racing by just 1 point, so potentially we could see a third day with the teams all tied at the top of the circuit standings, but Sled have other ideas just now, getting up to second. But I fancy this positions on this beat are far from settled. Breeze now just west of south, 190 degrees. So it's moved about 15 degrees over the course of the day. Quantum versus Sled. Sled coming out almost at the starboard tackling line now. Quantum knocking slightly, as are Phoenix on that left side, as you'd imagine, on starboard. As I said, now the course orientation takes the windward mark slightly closer to the land, and the left side becomes stronger. So Provezza up there once again, looking like their best day for a while. Platoon though dropping to 6th just now, but it's so fluid, so dynamic on this race course. But there we go. A little bit of deja vu in some senses. Quantum Racing set to lead round this mark. First time up. Lead is it's going to be certainly 50-60 metres. Which, if you remember, they had a big lead in the first race of the day ahead of Allegra and Platoon. Provezza will come in there and challenge a sled. So Quantum Racing leading at both top marks, first time up in both races. Second round sled, third round Provezza. Fourth are going to be Phoenix. Fifth, I think Platoon will get in there ahead of Vayu. And then Allegra. So unfortunately then only 7 boats set on the water in this race. Allegra then in 7th, quite a distance, almost a minute behind Quantum. So a reasonable spread in the top 4, top 5 boats really. Big ask for Platoon to make significant gains from 5th. You can see them challenging Phoenix. Potentially, but it's a long way forward to Quantum. For example, 400 meters underwater. So that's how the points table projected would be if position stayed the same. We're only on the first run, but Sled potentially going into the final day with a lead of 5 points. Sled have never won the Royal Cup. Quantum have, Platoon have, Phoenix haven't. But anyway, Platoon jibing off. Then looking at the projected overall rankings for the circuit, well, Quantum leading by 3 points just now. They were tied this morning. Phoenix were leading by a point going into this race, and actually Sled only 16 points behind, 16.5 points, pushing themselves into the picture. But this race starting to spread out just a little bit. as we were saying, the top two boats in the challenge for the circuit title, Quantum Racing and Phoenix, have finished tied on points the last 2 days. There's only 3 points between them, and Terry Hutchison leads the American Magic project, which he has recruited Tom Slingsby to, and of course they are the top two boats on the circuit this year at the moment. And we spoke to Paul Goodison now. Goody's also back with American Magic. We're asking Goody who he favoured between Quantum and Phoenix, and let's have a quick listen to Paul Goodison then.
Situation of the different teams, and who do you think is going to win?
Well, that's a tricky one. I think each team has their own day, and I guess comfortable in different weather. It's been tricky with the waves, and it's been hard to keep the boats going consistently. You see from the results that Sled actually going really well in the stronger breeze. Quantum are a good all-rounder, and again the Phoenix are going well in a different variety of conditions. So I think it's going to be hard to guess.
We're talking about at the end in Barcelona. Who's going to be on top of the standings?
I guess I got to say my boss. It's probably going to be Terry.
Why is that?
Oh no, they're doing great. They've been really consistent. I guess the Phoenix are also being very consistent and not far behind. But I guess Quantum are just going to edge it.
A little bit of how do you evaluate the teams though? Just a little bit more depth.
I think that there's 3 or 4 really strong teams that are all capable of winning, and then there's a little group behind there that are a little bit behind. But then these guys have got to put their work in to catch up with the top group. They're just a little bit faster, a little bit sharper around the course.
What have Quantum got, for example, in particular?
I think they're very strong upwind. Their boat's performing very strong upwind, and they're starting very well, which means they generally get out in front, and they're not easy to pass.
And Phoenix?
Again, I think this week they've been a little up and down, but they're very strong downwind. Their boat's going very strong downwind, and they're passing a lot downwind.
And the experience of having won the circuit in the past, is that important? Or Phoenix, are they more hungry?
I don't think having won before is that important. I think it just comes down to how you perform on the day, and the guys who are hungry are generally going to get it better.
You ever thought of going into politics?
I'm trying.
So Paul Goodison then, actually now the skipper of American Magic. Terry Hutchison, I think, sailing director is his official title. Anyway, Quantum Racing leading this race, Slide pressing them a little bit. Phoenix, Tom Slingsby and Cameron Dunn moving up the right side of the downwind. Got themselves up to third just now, ahead of Provezza. Provezza coming down the left. And Quantum just don't seem to ever have managed to shake off Sled. Either an omnipresent threat or in fact in front of them. So Platoon then, with a bit of work to do, then they're over 400 metres behind the leaders, having gone 2-1-2 in the last 3 races. This is looking like a 6th, but at the same time, their challenge for 4th place, that's the next position on the regatta standings, the general classification for the regatta, is Allegre. And although they're in 6th place in this race, they're 1 place ahead of Allegre and could finish the day tied on points in 4th. And of course the key for make it decisive would be to get ahead of Vayu. But a little bit of a tough ask for Platoon at the moment. Provezza coming back on starboard jibe with speed. Certainly looking relative to Phoenix just now. You'd imagine that Provezza would get round them. So then, I don't know how many times this regatta we've seen Quantum leading. Certainly, I think at least 3 or 4 times over the course of different races, but so far they've not managed to win a race, even though they're absolutely in contention. Their best have been the first day, 2 second places. So could this be Quantum's first race win here in Scarlino? So it looks like Phoenix have got through sled just now. Coming down inside, sled moving forward slightly, but that would be good for Quantum in the overall standings, though, as said, sled starting the race with a 6-point lead as we come through the leeward gate. Quantum taking the left-hand mark, looking upwind. Phoenix will follow them, a straight drop. So another good run for Phoenix. Phoenix round the top mark in 4th, up to 2nd. Sled were 2nd and dropping to 3rd. Provezza will come through in 4th. Not sure what's happening with Vayu there. Anyway, nonetheless, Platoon move up to, or come round in 5th, as they were at the top mark, and Allegra at 6th. 3 boats then going round the right hand mark, looking upwind, sled, Provezza, Platoon. So we're on to the second beat. Breeze holding out nicely. Had another 2 good races today. Once again, any questions, post them on our social media channels. Try and get to them today or potentially tomorrow. Just a reminder that in Barcelona, for the big finale, the big climax to the season, the decider where we'll find out who the 2022 champions are, we will have 5 days of live TV from the waters of the new America's Cup venue, Barcelona. And at the moment the battle is really between Quantum and Phoenix. Phoenix have never won the circuit title. Missed out, many of you will remember, they missed out in Palma last year, having led the regatta and at one point challenging for the circuit title, and were certainly contending, and then they lost their kite on the last day in the first run. Kite blew up and exploded, and that was pretty much the end of their challenge for the circuit title, and they ended up in 4th for the World Championships, 2 points behind Sled. Remember, the World Championship finished with Sled on 30, Quantum 31, Platoon 31, and Phoenix on 32, and there was just 3 points separating the top 3 teams. On the 2021 Circuit Championship, which was of course won by Sled over the 3 regattas which we sailed. Short circuit last year, and it was Sled winning on 74, Quantum 75, so Quantum smarting all the way through the winter, having lost the season by a single point, and Platoon finished 3rd on 76, Phoenix in the end 79, so Phoenix were 4th. So title contenders this year all the way through the season pretty much. And Sled more and more pushing themselves into the picture. Tom Slingsby saying this morning that yes, it's a 2-horse race at the moment, but it could very soon become a 3-horse race. So looking good for Doug DeVos and the Quantum team. Should be set to register their first race win here at this regatta, the Royal Cup, which they won in 2016. Sled were here in 2016 as well, finished 4th, 17 points off the winning tally of Quantum Racing. Sled and Phoenix quite close. Certainly Phoenix clear ahead on port out on that left side. Not seeing too much of a gain for Sled in the meantime. That battle for 4th place just now, Allegri holding on, getting through Platoon. So that left side seems to be working just now for Value. Let's see how that holds out. Of course, for Quantum Racing, an extra boat between them and Sled closes the gap very slightly for the big finale, the big Saturday showdown. Quantum, though, consistently 100 metres or so ahead. So the last time we were here was 2017 when it was the Rolex TP52 World Championship. I think the first year that Rolex were with us from memory, and that was when Platoon won their first of their two TP52 World Championship titles. A really super consistent scoreline. 1/6 place, otherwise they were all 2 seconds and thirds. And just a reminder, or endorsing the fact it's such a difficult place to be consistent at, just looking at Quantum's scoreline then in 2017, they had an 8th and 2/7 within their scoreline, finishing second, and that really was what made the difference between them and Platoon. And Azura at the time were 11 points behind. Allegra finished in 4th. So potentially, perhaps, possibly a second for Value, which would help their challenge for sure. They have been a pretty impressive team all round really this year, considering they're a family team and amateurs at the core. They have some very good, consistent professionals on board. The programme very well managed by Pom Green. Manu Weiler is the tactician who is proving himself once again. Remember, they opened the regatta here with a win. So just now they are at the moment, they're behind Provezza by 4 points going into this race, so they could overhaul Provezza and move up to 6th potentially. They do really like to keep their racing simple. Don't get too involved with the traffic and tend to pick a side. A little bit of a gain then to Allegra as well, picking the left coming up this beat. 7th at the top mark, first time up, 6th through the leeward gate. This right side not really working out for Sled at the moment. Breeze has dropped to 10 or 11 knots. The inshore, the left side working out Little righty, a little momentary header for Phoenix. They choose to take and try and get back at value a little bit. Value sailing the shifts and making gains relative to Quantum. Don't think Quantum are under any immediate threat, but Value pushing hard and in second just now. And Sled in fifth just now. They were second the top mark, third through the gate. And potentially that 6-point lead that Sled started this race with being eroded to potentially 2 points going into the final day. However, let's wait and see. Approaching the windward mark, second time up, second race of the day. A Royal Cup Scarlino. And Quantum Racing, race number 8. Could be their first win here in Tuscany. Value crossing ahead of Phoenix. Phoenix will tack in a few seconds. So no passing places, no passing lanes for Platoon. I think still going to be anchored to 5th place after this race, considering Allegri are 3 places ahead of them at the moment. So Platoon nearly 1.5 minutes behind Quantum. Gonna have some work to do tomorrow. So pretty straightforward Bayraway set, holding to the right so far down the final run of the day. There will be a certain satisfaction on board the Quantum just now, seeing the boats lining up behind them. Maybe feeling a little bit more secure than they have done on previous runs when they've been leading. Don't seem to be too many opportunities for any of the chasing pack to break away. So there we go, just as we said earlier on, with Sled in 5th just now, Quantum leading, although Sled went onto the water with a 6-point lead at the end of today. If things stay the same, the positions stay the same, then Sled will just have 2 points going into the final day. Ahead of Quantum 26-28, and Phoenix will be 5 points behind Sled. and 3 points behind Quantum. Allegra in 4th, 34 points. They'll be 4 points clear of Platoon. Provetza 6th, and Vayu, as we said, on equal points in fact, 6th and 7th. Then Interlodge on 8th and Gladiator 9th. Hopefully the damage to these boats is not too significant, and the shore teams can have Gladiator back operational for tomorrow. And there, the projected overall rankings for the circuit standings for 2022 after, I think it's 36 races now after today. Quantum would be 2 points ahead of Phoenix and 19 points ahead of Sled. Platoon in 4th. So for sure we seem to be one way or another. It looks like there will be a big finale in Barcelona. Forgotten how many times Quantum have won the title over the course of the 10-year history. I think it's 4. But there have been titles that they've almost had in the bag before the final regatta of the season. But as everybody keeps telling you, this circuit gets closer and closer. Any boat can win races, and certainly any one of 4 or 5 teams now can win regattas, if not all. So Phoenix pushing hard out to the left side, looking downwind, jibing earlier. Their target has to be Vayu. They were second through the leeward gate last time. Have made gains and have been quick downwind, consistently have Phoenix. The Vayu, as we said, very much in their comfort zone, in their light to moderate conditions are good for Vayu. Saying that, seems like Quantum not out of the woods yet. I've still got it even between Vayu and Quantum, but let's see. Sled and Phoenix are still close. Vayu for sure will have one more jibe to go. Quantum is slightly hotter angle just now. Yeah, Quantum Back through value, just a quick answer to a question coming in from the internet, why we've only got graphics here, or the 2D animation. A lot of the time we have a very poor phone signal in this part of Tuscany where we are, unfortunately, and we're reliant on the phone network out on the race area for our tracking. So Sled still pushing hard. I think they'll be challenging value by the finish line. They've got themselves into third after being fifth around the top mark, but it's very quick downwind. I don't think Quantum will be looking over their shoulder too nervously with an 80-metre lead. You would think they should be able to close this one out, but we've said that before. In a very similar position. Value jibe back at Sled. I still think Sled will be ahead of Value. Value will be ahead of Sled, but let's see as they converge. Meantime, still 100 metres in it for Quantum. All about to the points differential going into the final day, and if Sled can get through in second and pit Value, that would redress the differential, the delta between the top two boats to 5 points, when at one stage it was back to 2. So good work from the Sled team, keeping themselves absolutely in contention. It's looking like an exciting finish one way or another. Sled not out of the game yet. So yeah, in the end, looking very, very much like a win for Quantum Racing, their first of the Royal Cup here in 2022. Had a very welcome time, and in the end, looking like Value should get second. Well, we'll just roll through the left end of the line. Helmsman Don Whitcraft pulls the bow down a little bit to sail more directly towards the finish line. Provezza pressing Phoenix at speed through the finish line. Actually Sled losing out very slightly coming in, but Phoenix getting third, Provezza fourth, Allegra fifth, Sled sixth. So there you go, who'd have thought then in the end the points delta between the top two going into the final day is going to be a single point, I think. Hopefully we can see that in a few seconds, and Platoon ending up with 7th coming through the finish line. So So much decided on that final run. The final stages sled were momentarily up in the third, challenging for second, and then losing out to come across in sixth place, but timed exactly the same time through the finish line as Allegri. So hopefully, I wonder whether we can see the projected points tally after 8 races, how things are going to look going into the final day, which is so there you go, 27 points to sled, Quantum Racing on 28 points, so just 1 point in it. Phoenix 4 points off the lead in third, Allegra 35, Platoon 38, Provezza 42, Vayu 44, Interlodge 55, and Gladiator 63. And so say just a single point in it going into the final day of the Royal Cup 52 Super Series Scarlino. Join us tomorrow and see who wins, who will be crowned the champions here, and who will head towards Barcelona. Well, Quantum Racing with a single point lead going into the final day here in the Royal Cup. And that is the circuit standings. I think we've done 36 races so far. Phoenix in second, 1 point behind, and sled 150.5, so 16 points behind the circuit leaders. Say join us tomorrow for a big Saturday showdown here in Scarlino.